Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor, and I'm the crafter from Down Under. Well, today I'm super excited to share with you two DIYs for fall, a fall wreath and a fall wood round. So to get started, you're going to need a wreath ring, some chenille sticks, some Deco Mesh, a ruler and a wood round. So for the first DIY, I want to share with you how I made this beautiful pumpkin patch sign. Now this sign will end up being in the center of my fall wreath, but it can certainly stand alone because it's so beautiful when it's done. So using a bowl from my kitchen, I simply traced out a circle to give me about a 1/2 inch edge, which I'm later going to paint black. And then I hopped onto the computer and downloaded a free pumpkin downloadable and cut it out using my scissors. And this is going to form part of my pumpkin patch sign at the base of this beautiful wooden round. And then mixing up a bit of brown acrylic paint with some water and using a baby wipe, I just simply lathered the wooden round with the brown paint to create this lovely stain. And then I used a beautiful, very thin paintbrush to start to colour in the trim or the edge of this wooden round in black acrylic paint. Then I had this idea that I wanted to decorate the edging of this wooden round. Now you can use simple white acrylic paint and use the back of your paintbrush and create little dobs of white just to create this polka dotted effect. But I decided to bring out my Cricut and create a whole bunch of little circles because I really wanted the circles to be exactly the same in size, and I just simply weeded out those circles using some white acrylic, white vinyl, and then I laid them down into the center of the black border. And then I thought I wanted to create a white border inside the black border, so I, again using my Cricut, created a circle. And then using some of the vinyl transfer, then popped that circle straight onto the wooden round. To finish off the wooden round, I found, using again the Cricut software, I found this beautiful welcome to my pumpkin, or welcome to our pumpkin patch sign. And using some white vinyl, I then simply printed it out on my Cricut. Now, don't be too concerned if the entire cutout doesn't come off straight up. You can always, as you can see me here, go back and lay down the bits and pieces that didn't come across with your transfer. It's really forgiving this way. So just burnishing it on straight onto the wooden round. I then took off the transfer tape and then leaving behind the beautiful white vinyl. I wanted to distress the edges of the pumpkin cutout, so I just grabbed some of this ink pad that I had in my stash, just some black ink pad, and I gently distressed the edge of the pumpkin design. And then using a simple glue stick, you can use Mod Podge, but I just preferred to use a glue stick. I then just simply stuck these lovely little pumpkins at the base of this sign to create this welcome to our pumpkin patch sign. So using my Cricut burnishing tool, I just got rid of any bubbles and smoothed it out, and then I created a lovely little bow. I just used 3 strips of different coordinating ribbons, gathered them in the center, used a little bit of jute twine to create a bow in the center, and then using my hot glue, just adhered this beautiful bow to the top of the wood round. So to create some hanging devices at the back of the wood round, I just turned it over, used some of those, I had 2 chenille sticks that I then, just using my hot glue, adhered them to the back of the wood round, put a little bit of paper down the centre just to give it that extra bit of security and strength, and there I had a wood round ready to adhere to my wreath or to create a little hook and hang it from anywhere in my home. So finishing off the wood round, because I did intend to use this in the outdoors, I just used some gloss Mod Podge and put a nice healthy layer all the way across this beautiful sign. So here it is complete. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I really, really love this one. It's welcome to our pumpkin patch sign, and I thought it turned out absolutely stunning. So you can easily create this using what you have in your home. You don't really need a Cricut. You can actually download a whole range of different pumpkin signs or pumpkins in themselves. You can use the back of your paintbrush to create the polka dots, or if you've got a Cricut, really the world is your oyster here in terms of creativity. I hope you enjoyed it. So for my second DIY, I want to share with you how I made this bountiful and beautiful fall Deco Mesh wreath. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need a wreath ring. My wreath ring is about 14 inches in diameter, but you can use any size that you have on hand and just adjust your materials to suit. And then using some chenille stems, you're going to create twist ties, which you will need for gathering your deco mesh and making sure that that deco mesh is nicely secured to your wreath ring. All I did was create a U shape with the chenille stem and then twisted them around until they were nice and secure and weren't going to move anywhere. Now with the outer ring, I did twist the chenille stems around the crossbar, but on the inner ring of this particular wreath ring, I secured the chenille stems in between, which means they didn't have a crossbar to keep them nice and secure. So I just used some hot glue and laid a dab on either side of the chenille stems, and that will keep your stems nice and secure onto that inner ring, so that when you start to lay your deco mesh and start to twist and twirl your deco mesh on the inside, it's not going to go all over the place. So this deco mesh that I had came from my craft room. It is actually a leftover roll from my Christmas decorations, and all I did was create 20-inch poofs. You can measure out 20 inches, or you can just count to 3 as you pull out the deco mesh, and that gives you about the same size poof every time you get to a chenille stem. So once you create the poof, you just twist 2 or 3 times the twist ties or the chenille stems onto the deco mesh, so that deco mesh is nice and secure, and you create this lovely little circular form. It's nice and full, it's nice and round. Go all the way around. You can start from the inside, you can start from the outside, it doesn't really matter. In this instance, I started on the inside, worked my way around the wreath ring, and then moved across to the outside until I got to the end, and then just cut off the excess deco mesh away. I love how the deco mesh extends the wreath and gives you that nice space to start creating the beautiful floral wreath that I'm about to show you. So to get started with the ribbons, I absolutely love this bit. I'm obsessed by ribbons. What can I say? I love ribbons of any kind, burlap. I found some beautiful fall coloured ribbons using this gorgeous burlap. And then this checkered orange and burlap coloured and white and burlap striped that I found, and I simply made 6-inch strips of ribbon and created clumps of 3. I also dovetailed the edges And here you can see me starting to lay down the pattern using this burlap and this cute little pumpkin truck with this orange and polka dot ribbon, and then using a little teeny staple, I just stapled the ribbons in the center. That helps to create the cluster of ribbons and keeps them together, especially when you gather them in the center later on. And then I used the leftover of the Deco Mesh that I still had on the roll to create two little 7-inch twirls, or little, I don't know what you call them, little twirls, I guess. And then this allows you to start to build out and create a little bit more depth to your wreath form. So this gold mesh is still a little bit translucent. So by creating two rolls of Deco Mesh and then adding them to the cluster of bows, you then start to really create more opacity for your wreath ring, and also it just starts to build it out and make it a little bit thicker. And I just repeated this process all the way around. I mixed up my ribbons and I thought it started to look really, really pretty. And then using the Welcome to Our Pumpkin Patch sign that we made earlier in this video, I'm sorry I lost the video, but I adhered, or I just strung the round to the center of the wreath, and then I had a nice center sign to this wreath form. Now I decided to create a nice big bow because every wreath needs a beautiful bow. The contraption I'm using is homemade. It's simply two dowels stuck inside the center of a leftover ribbon spool. It's as simple as that. I don't have access to an easy bow maker, so I made it myself, and it's really, really helpful. It's good for your hands. It helps to keep your bows in place while you're grabbing all your materials. And just by using like a little clothes peg, that keeps the dowels together as you cut up your bows and search for your different layers. It works perfectly fine. It's really helpful. So I created roughly 7-inch bows on each side with nice long tails, because I was intending to put this bow at the base of the wreath and I wanted the tails to hang nice and long. So using all these beautiful ribbons that I found in my local craft store, I just started to create a multi-dimensional bow, making sure that each bow was slightly smaller each time. This creates dimension and doesn't allow one bow to overpower the other bow that's sitting underneath. If you're liking this video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Let me know if you're thinking about recreating this wreath. If you're new to my channel, a big warm welcome to you. I love to create home decor, seasonal decor, and beautiful tablescapes. And if you're returning to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by again. And when you leave me comments, I love to read and respond to every single one of them. They absolutely inspire me, and I really am energized by your comments as well. So thank you to all of my beautiful subscribers who've taken the time to give me encouraging words along this crafting journey. So I just used a zip tie to bring the bow together. When you're using a zip tie, it's very good to not completely tie it really tight to start with, just to make sure your bows are exactly where you want them to be. And when you're happy with the structure of your bow, then really pull that zip tie tight. And then of course, you know what has to happen next. You've got to fluff out those beautiful bows to give them the nice rounded shape. And don't forget to dovetail the edges of your tails as well. To adhere the bow to this wreath ring, I just strung a little bit of jute twine down the centre of that bow, and then using the leftover twine pieces at the back, I then just simply created a knot. I used the wreath form to create the knot of the jute twine, and that held the bow nicely in place, exactly where I wanted it to be. And then here comes the fun stuff. I love this bit where I just use some florals to start to create and build out this wreath ring and really give it that fall or autumn feel. These beautiful orange and soft yellows and soft creams. And here I've got some of these. They're like baby's breath, but they're not really. They're tiny, tiny little yellow and orange flowers. I just pop them all over the wreath. This is where you can get really creative. There's no rules. There's no rhyme or reason as to where I put all my florals. You just put your florals wherever it looks good to you. But the main thing is use those beautiful warm autumn or fall colours, those lovely soft reds, those deep oranges, bright yellows, and those lovely creams. And I think they're like very soft sunflowers. I found them in my hardware store actually, and in a couple of discount stores close to my home. And then I thought that the wreath needed something a little bit extra, so I used the jute twine and created a double bow, just like a shoelace bow, and then fluffed out the bows of this jute twine to create sort of like a mini flower. And then I used my hot glue to pop them in the centre of the ribbons, because I felt that the centre of the ribbons needed something just to give it a bit of extra dimension. I don't have any pumpkins. It's actually winter here in Australia, so it's really hard to find pumpkins. We've already had our autumn, so it's well and truly winter. It's a little bit cold, so I couldn't get my hands on any pumpkins, but I used this gorgeous jute twine instead, and I thought it turned out so pretty. Here is the final wreath with all of those beautiful ribbons and the bows and the flowers all tucked in, made to look like they're just wispy and popping out like you'd find them in a garden, and that gorgeous welcome to our pumpkin patch sign right in the centre. I think it looks gorgeous on some shutters. It looked beautiful on my front door. I popped it out in my yard. You could actually use it indoors as well. I think this is a gorgeous all-rounder, beautiful fall wreath. I hope you like it. I absolutely loved making it with you. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Well, I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.